Today on Rack Recordings, I mix a full song. What is up, guys? Welcome back to Rack Recordings. My name is John, and today we're mixing a full song. All of these stems are from the mixing contest that I recently did. These are all the exact same stems that all of you guys got, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to go about mixing them. First things first, I'm going to start with the drums here. So these are all the drum stems that I provided you. First thing I'm going to do, I guess, is level these drums out before I start adding any type of effect. So I'm going to highlight all of my tracks and pull them down. Start with the kick. Now I like to set my bass volume at -12. So that's where my kick's going to be. My snare is going to peak somewhere around there, usually a little over it. So all right, Tom 1 will do now. Then we'll do Tom 2. Let's check those quick. All right, cool. Let's get this snare room going. How about the left crash? For the crash cymbals, I like to go to about -24 or so. So then the right crash, let's start that at -10.8 like the left crash is. Let's see how that is here. All right, that sounds cool. Now this is the ride, so we're going to skip that for right now, and we'll do the China since we're right here. So let's go -10.8. And hi-hats. That is going to come up before the ride does. So here's a hi-hat. All right, so that's got to go up a bit. Cool. Now we'll move on to this bell because that's going to be there before anything else again. Now this bell is an accent, clearly. So we don't want it super loud and overpowering, just enough that you hear it. So all of these levels are going to get adjusted once we start bringing in other instruments. So let's check this out here. All right, so it's not jiving too well here. Let's try maybe pan it differently. Let's see. All right, cool. So now let's work with this ride here. All right, cool. So that ride's going to need a little bit of attack brought into it, I feel. Maybe some of that washy low end taken out, but that's about it right now for the drums. So what we can do, start adding some buses for this drum kit here. All right, so all the buses are made now. I'm going to unsolo these drums, and now we can start making guitar tones. So the main thing we want to think about here, do we want this guitar tone to be more raw or polished? So let's see what we can use. We could do some Lapoo stuff. Lapoo Legion. Yeah. Crank the tone on that. Legion. Leave it alone. And then we'll use, where is it? STL Tones, NAD IR. All right. So right now, this is basically using the new NAD IR. It's using like their new impulses that came with it that are blended. So let's check and see how this is going to sound already. I don't like these. We'll use some of my impulses. Let's see. I made this really cool impulse from my HS5 studio monitors, and it generally sounds pretty good. I don't know how it's going to sound on this, but let's see how this blends in with the drums here. That actually doesn't sound too bad. That'll leave us a little bit of room here to do the second guitar. So for the second guitar, we'll up this contour a little bit. I think maybe that'll help us out. So let's see what we can get here with just these four. All right, so I'm actually kind of liking that a lot. So let's see here. Let's take a listen with guitars and drums. All right, so that sounds really cool so far. Let's make a bass tone here. So for the bass, I'll probably just use some Bass Forge Hellraiser. Let's use Hefty Clank. All right, so that doesn't sound bad. Let's get some lead guitars now. I'm going to try and bring this preset over, but I'm going to probably use a different cab. Let's use this one. Where's line 6? There it is. All right, so now let's see. Let's mess around here and see what we can get. So now let's check it out with both of them. I really like those tones, so I'm probably going to print them and then we're going to live with it. So I'm going to make them all -12. Now I'm just going to print these tracks down and continue from there. All right, so these are all bounced down. Now, a good thing about bouncing down tracks like this, the tone might not have been that great off the start, but it teaches you how to deal with subpar tracks. So committing right off the bat is sometimes a good thing. So I'll show you what I mean by that later on in this video. So now all we got to do is pan them correctly and then set some volumes. All right, so that should do it there. I need to send these to buses now. So I'm going to bus the bass. I will bus GTR1, GTR2, and then lead. So now what do we have? Let's see. So now we're on synths. So our main synth here. I can basically set this volume later on in the song because it reoccurs multiple times. So we'll do it in the chorus. Now with this, I personally don't want it very loud, but I would also really like to kind of have it stereo spread, even though it is mono. So for that, Joey Sturgis tones, side widener. All right, I like that one the best. So now let's mess with the level a bit. It's not really doing anything. I think it actually made it worse. So we're not going to use that. Waves doubler. Oh, wait, I'm an idiot. I know why it didn't work because it's a mono track. Duh. We'll give her one more shot here. I'm going to change this track to stereo. All right, now let's try this. All right, so that actually kind of works pretty well now that I'm not dumb anymore. Now let's set the volume. All right, so this is calling for some type of compression. I want a very simple compression, so we'll use waves. I really like Renaissance Axe. Now we're gonna have to use, well, it doesn't matter. We can use a mono because it is technically a mono source, but We can boost the attack on this and see if this does anything. All right, so that worked well. Let's try this one. The verse synth. Go back to this chorus synth here and see if we can get a little bit better volume. All right, it's not bad. So we have this, the pre-chorus synth. All right, so I'm not worried about that one yet. We'll do this one first. This one actually has a melody. All right, now we'll bring in the other one. Now here is, I believe, the breakdown synth. Let's set the volume for this. Kind of want to make this one a little wide, so gotta set it stereo. All right, cool. So now we're going to set all of these to one bus, which will be synth. Now we move on to some effects. Now these are all just rough volumes. So once we get everything sounding good, then we're going to start actually setting volumes. That's generally the last thing I do. So let's see. The guitar glitch. All right, so I basically want that to not be as loud as all the other guitars. It's building up. So then here's a bass drop. Here's some one shots. Let's bring these in too. Gonna go back here. Let's check these out. I think these can go up in volume. All right, so that's sounding cool. What is this? Let's see. This is the Joker. So the Joker, I believe what I did in the original mix of this song made it kind of sound like he was whispering. So let's get a volume here, and then I'll show you what I did, if I can remember. I don't know why I said Joker. It's Jigsaw from Saw. I want to play a game. And reverse snare. Maybe that explosion's a little loud. Let's try again. Well, it appears that we're now on vocals, but let's do this first. I'm not quite ready for vocals yet, so we're going to basically get everything sounding good before I move on to vocals. So let's see. For this, I just took an EQ and kind of something like this. But we're going to need a little more body. Not that much. Then we'll cut out a little bit there. All right, let's see what that sounds like. Cool, see what that did? That sounds kind of neat. All right, so now I'm gonna take all of these effects and add them to a bus. Now let's start mixing. So start with the kick and get it sounding better. Smash and grab. I'm going to use smash and grab on the snare as well. Nothing on that snare room. The toms. Now Tom 2, I used Jigsaw Audio toms for this, and I don't really like what happens with Tom 2. Even when you turn off the room, it sounds like very boomy. It's weird. So I'm going to try and use this Era R. It's a reverb reducer. See if I can get something with this. All right, cool. Now let's see. Let's move on to the toms on the bus now. Smash and grab on toms. All right, now on the cymbals, smash and grab again. Let's try them like this. All right, so then we'll bust these to a drums bus and then move it. Now we'll set some levels for the drums quick. China's loud. All right, that sounds pretty balanced. So now on this drums bus, I'm gonna put Joel Wanasek BG drums. Oh, that's mix. There it is. Set it to pumping and link both. All right, so that sounds cool. Now let's get guitar 1 in here. All right, so first things first on this, I am going to compress it. Renaissance Axe stereo, since it's a guitar. Okay, that, and then we're gonna go line, well, let's EQ some stuff first. Let's EQ the bad noises out of this guitar here. All right, let's see what we just did. All right, that's much cleaner sounding now. So let's listen to this. All right, so this tone is very mid-heavy, so we're gonna have to bring in a pod farm EQ, which I love doing, and adding 8K. All right, let's see. All right, so now we're gonna get this bass to blend with the guitar and thicken it up. Use a preamp for this. All right, so let's see. check out guitar 2 now. All right, so for this lead now, we're going to add H delay, turn the analog off, quarter note ping pong, and then R verb. Mike Hedges singing guitar. Now, I kind of want this with a lot of reverb, so let's dial that in. All right, let's see what this sounds like. All right, so it's sounding good so far. I think we can now bring in vocals. There's already compression on these vocals, so I'm not even going to bother with that. So the first thing I'm going to do is set the level here for this clean vocal. All right, so those are set pretty decent. The harmony I already got, so now screams. Now for the screams, they're not as simple as the clean vocals. There is 2 centers and 2 left-right doubles, and then another set of those. So let's set this first main vocal. Understand I was lost, but still got what I deserved. You only knew me deserved. You only knew me deserved. You only knew me shortly. All right, so there we go for them. Now we could just copy over what we already did. Don't ever think you knew me. It's not our say. What has become of me? What else is left for me to say? Now let's set it for the group vocals. All right, cool. Now let's bust the vocals. So this will be Vox clean, harmonies, scream 1, scream 2, and then we got group. Okay, so I have a template that I use because I love the tone on this. So the first thing that I do with these, I'll open up here and I'll start setting the de-esser. And then I'll set the second de-esser. So you guys might be wondering what is in this chain. So this Q10 here is doing a bunch of cuts. Now, this chain that I made is actually from this song. So these are set to the mic used and this singer and everything. I will generally move this around depending on how it sounds after I put it on. And then there's some boosts, a boost here to get more vocal clarity and definition. And then here is for some air. I have max bass to get more of a thick sound, a second de-esser to tame the S's after the processing, and then a limiter. So now I'll set the limiter. All right, so now I can just set the volumes of this. Now all I do is H delay stereo again, ping pong, analog off, and then R verb. Now we just set them. Now I'll copy this over to the harmony track and only copy the reverb. All right, so now for these screams, this doesn't really work. So I got to add a couple other frequencies to make them thicker. And there it goes. That's all we need. So let's take a listen. Okay, so now I can start setting some of the volumes. So I'm noticing the guitars are a little low. I'm gonna bump those up. you notice how I am cycling through stereo and mono, I'm pretty much checking to see how it sounds in both sources. So like mono as a cell phone, and then a lot of stuff will stick out in mono as well. Okay, that sounds cool. I can start building my master chain a little bit. Let me pull up JST BG Mix, Joel Wanasek, Nickel. Let's master it in the chorus here. We'll set this compressor. My computer's acting extremely weird right now. I don't know what is happening. Wow, I'm using a lot of CPU for some reason. All right, and that there is pretty much how I'm gonna mix this song. I'm not gonna go into mastering because this is about mixing. So there it is. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I have presets available on my store. It is rackrecordingssoundstore.com. Linked below in the description. There are guitar presets, bass presets, there's drum samples, impulses. I plan on making some reverb impulses, so that's going to be pretty cool. Don't forget to like and subscribe, hit that bell, get instant notifications. And as always, thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.